The Hollywood fairy tale has hit a harsh, cold reality in South Wales, and the aftershocks are threatening to derail the entire project. We are not just talking about a heartbreaking derby defeat that ruined Christmas. We are talking about a fundamental threat to the club's future. The image you see on the screen, PSR Danger, isn't clickbait. It is the financial sword of Damocles hanging over the racecourse ground. After a summer of lavish spending, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have been handed a dossier that effectively says, stop or face the consequences. The temptation to fix a broken squad in January is overwhelming, especially after what we just witnessed at Swansea. But doing so could trigger sanctions that would undo years of work. We have a goalkeeper in crisis, a star midfielder in the hospital, and an ownership group standing on a financial tightrope with no safety net. Welcome to the most critical juncture of the Wrexham story so far. Let's get into it.
We have to start with the football, or rather the agony of it. If there is one way to ruin the festive period for a Wrexham fan, it is capitulating in a Welsh derby against Swansea City. This wasn't just a loss, it was a psychological blow that exposed the fragility of this team when the pressure cooker is whistled. The build-up to this match was immense. Wrexham, the disruptors, the Hollywood stars, traveling to the Swansea.com stadium to face established championship pedigree. And for the first 45 minutes, it looked like the script was written in our favor. When that own goal went in after just 14 minutes, courtesy of Ryan Longman's dangerous cross causing chaos in the Swansea box, the away end, packed with 2,000 traveling Reds, erupted. You could hear them over the home support. It was magnificent. It felt like another chapter of the documentary was being filmed right there. We were in control, or so it seemed. But football, as we know too well, is a game of two halves. And what followed was a slow, painful dismantling of confidence. The narrative of the match shifted from Wrexham's resilience to Wrexham's inability to kill off a game. We have seen this movie before, haven't we? The draw specialists of the '92. Phil Parkinson's men sat back, unable to register a single shot on target in the first half despite the lead. It was a dangerous game to play against a possession-heavy side like Swansea. The equalizer felt inevitable, a deflection that felt cruel but deserved. But the real dagger, the moment that will haunt Arthur Okonkwo's sleep for weeks, came in the dying embers of the match. Let's talk about Arthur Okonkwo. This is a young man who has been absolute granite for this football club. He has been the foundation of back-to-back promotions, a keeper who has won us points single-handedly on countless occasions. But in the 90th minute of a Welsh derby, with the score at 1-1, disaster struck. A failure to gather the ball, a moment of hesitation, and Swansea capitalized to snatch a 2-1 victory. It was a howler. There is no dressing it up. It was the kind of mistake that silences a stadium and leaves the away end with their heads in their hands. However, and this is crucial, we must not let recency bias cloud our judgment. Goalkeepers are a unique breed. Their mistakes are fatal, while a striker's miss is often forgotten. Okonkwo was at fault, yes. He cost us a point, perhaps 3. But Phil Parkinson was right to defend him immediately post-match. This lad has saved Wrexham more times than we can count this season. To turn on him now would be catastrophic for his confidence and the team's stability. He needs the support of the town more than ever. But looking at the wider picture, the table makes for grim reading. 15th in the championship at Christmas. Now, if you had offered us 15th in the second tier 3 years ago, we would have bitten your hand off. But expectations shift. We're only 7 points off the playoffs, yet 9 above the relegation zone. We are in purgatory. The unbeaten run is over, replaced by a 5-game winless streak. We are failing to turn draws into wins, and when we do take the lead, we are squandering it. The defeat at Swansea wasn't just about 3 points. It was a reality check that the squad, as currently constructed, might have hit its ceiling in this brutal division. The fans were magnificent, selling out their allocation and singing their hearts out, but they were let down by a lack of killer instinct and a momentary lapse in concentration. The question now is, how does the dressing room recover from losing a derby in such heartbreaking fashion?
If the result at Swansea was a punch to the gut, the news emerging from the medical room is a knockout blow to the jaw. We are not just licking our wounds from a defeat, We are counting the cost of a physical battle that has stripped us of one of our most vital engines. Lewis O'Brien, a player brought in to add that Premier League and high championship quality to our midfield, has suffered what looks to be a season-defining injury. And the nature of it is enough to make you wince. It happened in the second half. O'Brien had only been on the pitch for 7 minutes. 7 minutes to try and influence a derby. Then came the challenge. Ethan Galbraith of Swansea went in, and according to Phil Parkinson, he was incredibly lucky to stay on the pitch. The gaffer didn't mince his words, calling it a bad tackle, high and dangerous. In the modern game, where player safety is paramount, seeing a challenge like that go unpunished with a red card is infuriating. But the referee's card color doesn't change the medical reality. The update from Parkinson is quite frankly terrifying. It's not just a knock, it's not just a strain. Lewis O'Brien has suffered a double injury. He has dislocated his shoulder and injured his knee in the same sequence. Just try to imagine the physical trauma of that impact. A dislocated shoulder is agony enough. It keeps players out for weeks, sometimes months if surgery is required. But to damage the knee simultaneously suggests a twisting motion, a buckle under force that could mean ligament damage. Parkinson's words were somber. It doesn't look good. When a manager like Phil Parkinson, who is usually guarded and optimistic, says it doesn't look good immediately after the game, you know it is serious. O'Brien is a tough lad. He doesn't roll around for the cameras. For him to be forced off implies significant structural damage. This leaves a gaping hole in the middle of the park. We were already struggling to control games, evidenced by the lack of possession and shots against Swansea. And now we lose a player who was supposed to be the metronome, the one who brings calmness and drive. With the festive fixture list piling up, games coming thick and fast every 3 days, losing a midfielder of his caliber is a tactical disaster. It forces the question, what do we do now? Do we rely on the existing squad, which is already looking leggy and bereft of ideas, or do we look to the January window? But as we are about to discuss, looking to the transfer market is not as simple as writing a check anymore. The injury to O'Brien isn't just a sporting tragedy for the player, it is a strategic nightmare for the owners. It forces their hand, it creates desperation, and in the world of football transfers, desperation is expensive. We are waiting for the scans, but the mood music coming out of the club is dark. If O'Brien is out for the season, which is a distinct possibility with a knee and shoulder combination, Wrexham are effectively down a marquee signing. The depth of the squad is being tested to its absolute limit, and right now it feels like the elastic is about to snap. This injury adds a layer of gloom to the Swansea defeat that makes the journey home for the team and the fans feel twice as long.
And this brings us to the headline, the elephant in the room, and the perigo flashing on your screen. The injury to O'Brien and the loss of form would typically signal one thing. Ryan, Rob, get the checkbook out. In the National League and League Two, that was the solution. Spend, improve, promote. But we are in the Championship now, and the rules of engagement have changed drastically. We are now operating under the strict surveillance of the EFL's profitability and sustainability rules, the dreaded PSR. A warning has been issued, loud and clear, by Sky Sports pundit and EFL expert Don Goodman, and it is a warning the owners cannot ignore. The context is this. Wrexham spent a staggering £33 million on new players and wages in the summer to compete at this level. That is a Premier League level of investment in the second tier. It raised expectations, perhaps unfairly, that we would walk into the playoffs. But that spending comes with a cost. You cannot simply keep pouring money in without revenue to match it, or you risk breaching the financial fair play limits. We have seen what happens to clubs that breach these rules. Everton, Nottingham Forest, points deductions that turn a good season into a survival scrap. Wrexham are currently 15th, 7 points off the playoffs. The temptation is to think, if we just spend another £10 million in January, we can bridge that gap. But Goodman's warning is stark. Do not break the bank. The fear is the PSR trap. If Wrexham go big in January, panic buying to replace O'Brien or to find a striker who scores more than the current crop, and they don't get promoted, they are in serious trouble. They would be saddled with huge wages, high amortization costs, and no Premier League TV money to balance the books. It is a gamble that could set the club back 5 years if it fails. Goodman argues that the club should take stock.
He believes the playoffs are unlikely, given the inconsistency and the averageness of the league performances. He points out a glaring statistic: lack of goals. Yes, Kiefer Moore has 8 and Josh Windass has 6, but the rest of the squad is dry. The 4 new marquee signings have scored 20 of our 26 goals. That sounds good, until you realize Coventry have scored double that. We are over-reliant on individuals. So here is the dilemma for Reynolds and McElhenney. Do they listen to the emotional plea of the fans who want to see a reaction to the Swansea defeat and the O'Brien injury? Do they try to force the Hollywood ending of back-to-back-to-back promotions? Or do they listen to the cold, hard logic of the financial advisors? The risk is real. The PSR fear is not just a headline. It is the mechanism that prevents clubs from doing exactly what Wrexham might feel they need to do. If they breach the limits, any success on the pitch could be wiped out by an independent commission in a boardroom. The instructions are frank: tread carefully. The January window, usually a time of excitement for Wrexham fans, is shaping up to be a period of immense anxiety. One wrong move, one overpriced signing, and the dream could turn into a financial nightmare.
It is shaping up to be a Christmas of contemplation rather than celebration in North Wales. The defeat to Swansea hurts. It really hurts, because it showed the gap between where we are and where we want to be. The injury to Lewis O'Brien is a cruel twist of fate that robs us of quality when we need it most. But the looming shadow of PSR is the real story here. Ryan and Rob have navigated this club through emotional waters, but now they must navigate through shark-infested financial ones. Can Phil Parkinson rally this squad without breaking the bank? Or is this the season where reality finally catches up with the documentary? Let me know in the comments. Should they gamble the cash in January or accept mid-table safety to protect the club's future? I'm Shadar. Keep the faith, keep the passion, and I'll see you in the next one.